Good afternoon and welcome to Drive to Tommy Fury. Hello, Tommy. How are you?
Hello there. Good afternoon, everybody at talkSPORT. Hope everyone's doing well.
We are great. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling ecstatic. I'm on top of the world. I'm fit. I'm ripped. I'm in condition, and I'm getting ready to take out an idiot in less than 2 weeks. So I'm feeling great.
Tommy, it seems to have taken ages for this fight to be made. I mean, I think it was cancelled twice. Are you confident 100% that this one goes ahead?
Oh yeah, 110%. This will be going ahead. Well, on my part, I will be there in Saudi on the 26th. Do not worry about that. This fight is going ahead. And Jake Paul, it's tick-tock, tick-tock.
Listen, I know the obvious answer from you will be, well, I won't lose, right? But things do happen. Even great fighters lose, right? They all, in fact, probably 99% of boxers lose, right? It's only, for whatever reason, the 1% that don't. If you were to lose to a YouTuber, what happens next for you, genuinely?
Well, here's my answer to that. So 99.9% of boxers do lose, but they lose to other boxers and they lose to other, good fighters. I am fighting a guy who fiddles around with a Sony camera, jumping off bridges, spending £1 million in a shopping mall. That's the kind of person I'm going up against. And that, in my eyes, equals a no-lose situation. At the end of the day, losing never comes into my head, and especially about Jake Paul. No matter how many times me and him has been scheduled to fight, never, ever once has it ever come into my head that he's going to beat me. He can't. There's no way. He can't live with me.
Well, I mean...
Can I say, sorry, but if he does catch you, right? If he does catch you, because, he could, at your weight as well, one punch to the jaw, you could go down. If that did happen, would you carry on boxing after that? Or would you call it a day or what?
If he caught me, I'd probably just laugh, to be honest, because I've been usually getting hit by heavyweights and whatever you want, Olympic gold medalists, world champions, whatever. So Jake Paul, a little kid from Disney, what's he going to do? I let him hit me. I'm not interested. I put my hands up and let him tee off on me like a 5-year-old's hitting me. This man has talked himself a good fight. Like when you hear the saying, "Oh, he talks a good game," this man does talk a good game. Whereas me, I can fight a good game because I'm not as good as talker he is. I'll give him that, but I'm levels above him in fighting, and he's going to find out the hard way.
Tommy, let me ask you a question, because I know generally you believe you're going to win the fight, but do you think there's anything that he's got, and do you think he genuinely believes, because as you said there, he's been talking for a while, do you think in his head he genuinely believes he's got a chance of beating you?
So, to answer the questions, genuinely, there's nothing that Jake Paul does inside that ring that has got me worried. There's nothing at all. He throws a wild overhand right like any guy out the pub would do. He's absolutely blown out of his ass after 3 rounds. There's not a lot he does. Doesn't have a high work rate. Whatever. That's it. He is what he is. And he can be, I believe he's that delusional to believe that he's going to beat me. But when his whole team's on the payroll and his whole team is behind him saying, "Oh, you can do it. You can do this. You can do that." Well, in reality, when you get through them ropes and you taste leather and you spit in blood, let's see how delusional he is then, because that's what's going to happen to him, and we'll see if he can still think he can beat me. So I could think I could jump off the Empire State Building and survive, but in hindsight, in reality, you can't, and that's exactly what he's going to have very, very soon.
Tommy, have a listen to this. talkSPORT Fight Night host Gareth A. Davis recently caught up with your opponent, YouTuber and professional boxer Jake Paul. He gave his prediction on what will happen on February the 26th.
I think it's hilarious that a kid who's been doing it his whole life, comes from a legendary bloodline, is the underdog. But I think people just know that I'm built different, bro. He's getting knocked out in less than 3 rounds.
Whoa.
And that's just facts. And his own family is saying that they're going to disown him and that he has to stay and live in Saudi Arabia. He can't even come back home if he loses, when he loses. So hopefully he has a good real estate agent out there to look for a nice place.
Tommy, let me ask you, of course, both of you are going to fancy your chances, so he's going to have to say that. Is there a rematch clause in this one?
Well, that's how confident he is. I believe there's a rematch clause on his side, so he can't be that confident in himself.
Hold on, what does that mean? That you don't have that option? So if you lose the fight, you can't ask for a rematch?
I believe so. I mean, I'm not 100% sure because I'm not a lawyer and I didn't look over the contracts. My lawyers did all that, so I'm not really sure. But at the end of the day, I know he's got one in his part. But it is what it is. But didn't he say all the same stuff that he'd do to Tyrone Woodley the first time or whatever else? Like, this man talks crap for a living. So I don't really read into anything he's got to say. Of course, he's going to say that. What else do you expect him to say? But at the end of the day, one thing that's different between me and him, everyone will find out my prediction on the night. That's the difference.
When you obviously this fight's massive just because of how you two have been against each other. Do you almost feel like though that you've got the whole of boxing on your back? And when I say that, a lot of boxers have come out and said that you have to win because if you get beat by a YouTuber, it's not good. Do you feel the pressure of that, or do you think it's a foregone conclusion? You just win the fight.
Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. I win the fight. I've trained too hard. I've sparred too many good guys, handled too many good guys in the gym that would smash Jake Paul up. And at the end of the day, my last name's Fury. Ever since I had my very first fight as an amateur, there was pressure on it. There's been pressure on my fights and everything since day dot. So this fight will not make a difference. There's pressure in America. There's pressure in Wembley. There's pressure on my first amateur fight. It's Tyson's brother. Let's have a look if you can box or not. There's always pressure, and this is no different. But I handle pressure well. And you'll see on the night how well I handle pressure. I'm going to go out there, soak it all up, enjoy it. This is my time now.
How many rounds is it scheduled for, Tommy?
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds.
Okay, so if you take him all the way and it goes to points and that's a victory for you, will you class that as a victory? Or do you need to knock him out early?
Jake Paul, we won't hear the final bell. That I'm confident.
What round do you think it will finish in, Tommy?
Like I said, it could go in 1. Having looked at his fights, having studied him, as soon as I land with either hand to the body or head flush, it's over. Whether that comes in the first round, second round, but by the 4th round, those shots were landed and he won't be there anymore.
The way you're talking, Tom, is the way that you're going to start the fight, which is incredibly fast. Is any part of you a little bit apprehensive, just that maybe a bit curious as to what he's going to do at the start of the fight, or are you planning to just go in there, take him out as quick as possible, job done?
I'm not worried about what Jake Paul's going to do in this fight. I'm not thinking about what Jake Paul's going to bring to this fight. I know what I'm bringing to this fight, and I've worked and got my body conditioned to work at 100 miles an hour for 12 rounds, not 8 rounds, 12 rounds. So I'm fully confident in my ability, fully confident in my fitness. I've done the hard work for this. I've seen how world champions prepare. I've seen how Tyson prepared against for Klitschko's and Wilders. And I've put the work in for this camp, and they'll all tell you themselves.
Tommy, let me ask you, right? So when this fight was announced, right, I have 2 trains of thought. One of them is I hope you knock him out because he's a YouTuber, and I think this crossover with YouTubers into a professional sport, it just shouldn't happen. I think it's quite embarrassing for the sport of boxing, right? But then there's another part of me that thinks, oh my goodness, imagine if the YouTuber beat the professional boxer. I'd quite like to see that as well. So I'm sort of split. But here's my question on the back of that. There's also a world title fight on the undercard of your fight. Now, the fact that a YouTuber, along with you, is headlining it, do you think that that's good or bad for boxing? Do you think YouTube boxing has a future?
At the end of the day, the only thing I think about YouTube boxing is it's bringing new eyes to the sport. All these kids that follow these guys on YouTube and watch them do all this crazy stuff, they probably would have never watched boxing in their entire lives. But the fact that these guys are crossing over to boxing, that means that they're crossing over to boxing. So it's bringing new eyes to the sport, and that's probably the only positive light I can put on it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Boxing is not necessarily about how good you can fight anymore. It's all about how many bums you can put on them seats. And if you can fill up them arenas and you can drive pay-per-view, it doesn't really matter how good you can fight. And sadly to say, that is the state of boxing at the minute. But, it is what it is. What can we do?
Tom, when you look at your record, you've had, I think, 8 professional fights, 8 victories. Do you think every single one of your opponents that you fought on your record would beat Jake Paul?
Yeah, definitely. Just a simple factor that everybody on my record has either been in with, ABA champions, European champions, world amateur champions, champions as professionals. They know how to survive. They know how to box, and they've been doing it a long time. There's more than meets the eye. Don't forget Jake Paul. You've never seen him in with a boxer before. You've seen him in with all these other guys who are not boxers. Whereas my people, all they ever have done is fight boxing. So they know how to box. And this is it. This is the difference. And you'll see this on the night. There will be a significant class difference, and you're going to see it because my people on my record are actually boxed. They boxed all the lives. His record, well, I think it reads a wrestler, another YouTuber, an NBA star, and 2 washed-up MMA fighters. So that wasn't ever strikers anyway. So, that's what we're up against here.
Okay, Tom, listen, before I let you go, thank you for your time, firstly. Before I let you go, 2 quick questions for you. I have to ask you one on Tyson. I think I read yesterday or today. I've lost track of the weekend. We're still waiting, really, for an announcement on that Usyk fight. It looks like now it may be at Wembley instead of Saudi Arabia. Can you tell us anything about that?
Honestly, I wish I could, guys, but you guys know about as much as me. I'm preparing for my own fight. I'm not getting involved in anybody else's. I'm sure negotiations for that they will get sorted. I'm sure we'll all hear soon enough.
Okay. Can I ask, do you know, but you just can't tell us?
No, I genuinely don't know.
Okay. All right. Last question for you, Tommy. I'll let you go. And you have to have a yes or no answer. Okay.
Yep.
If you lose the fight, I know you think you won't, but you have to answer yes or no. If you lose,
know I won't.
Okay, but if you were to lose it against Jake Paul, would you retire?
Yes, 100%. Yeah, definitely. If I can't beat Jake Paul, I don't belong in the ring.
Okay. Hey, Tommy, listen. For whatever reason, I'm fascinated by this bout, and I can't wait to see it. Right? And in the past, I've absolutely slagged off YouTubers getting into the boxing ring, but for whatever reason, it's grabbed my attention. Which I suppose, as you said, it puts bums on seats, it pays for pay-per-views and so on. So I'm really looking, for the right or wrong reasons, I'm just really looking forward to this fight. So I really appreciate your time, and thanks so much for coming on, Tommy. And I look forward to seeing you at the end of this month.
Good man. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, man. There you go, Tommy Fury against Jake Paul.
I'm so intrigued.
You see, that's it. I mean, I don't know if I feel dirty about the fact that I'm going to pay money and watch this fight, but I want to watch this fight.
So he made a good point there, because when you look at Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, even Nate Robinson, who was tiny, played in the NBA, he was tiny. That's what his record looks like. But yet there are people out there that are questioning, well, Tommy Fury's had 8 fights against 8 boxers. Yeah. Regardless of the levels, they are boxers.
Yeah.
But there are
you get caught up in it. It's exactly like when Conor McGregor went up against Mayweather.
I didn't get caught up in that.
Right. I did.
See, there you go.
I know, but someone once said to me in the build up to that, and then I forever was always Mayweather. They said Conor McGregor's not even the best fighter in Ireland, the best boxer in Ireland. How on earth is he going to?
There were people talking about, arguably, that Conor McGregor in boxing could be one of the greatest boxers ever.
I know.
Think about
with one of the greatest defences, if not the greatest
exactly.
defence.
Think about how
I got caught up in it.
You're better than that.
Oh, I know I am.
You think Jake Paul can win this fight, don't you?
I don't know.
Do you know what? I'd like to see Tommy go in there and just steamroll him.
I know, but if you had to put like 50 grand on the outcome, you wouldn't, would you?
I'm going to Tommy Fury knockout.
Oh, yeah?
Do you know what? Just because of the bloodline. that's the only reason.
That might be the reason.